Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Um, okay, so this is part 2 of the pedal assemblies, right? And you gotta remember that this is the pedal assemblies now for the red IS that's currently still at body, and I will update you guys next week on what's happening with that vehicle. It's for the red IS, for the Aero Silver 333, for the brown car, and yeah, so it's 3 pedal boxes that we're busy with. Okay, so in my last video, what we had done was we done a strip up of the pedal assembly, right? And you guys saw in there that there was a whole lot of rust. These things are 30 years old, so they haven't had attention in a long time. And even if people are building cars, they bypass these units. So what we're gonna do is we are okay. So this is after plating, powder coating, and so on like that. This is how the units came out. So this is your joining rod, basically, to your brake rod. Your bolts and nuts, everything is just done. It looks brand new. The car looks clean, right? The one thing that we did get extra and are available are these pushers, and these pushers are crucial because what happens is you will have play on your accelerator pedal. So these pushers normally sit in here. Your accelerator pedal, we'll assemble it now, you'll see it, but this here basically holds your accelerator pedal to your box, right? And it eliminates the play in that area. And then we've also got these grommets here. So you can use the general grommets, but it's going to be a very snug fit. It's going to be a very tight fit. So I'll take more out now. But you'll see that this grommet is actually very wide compared to the universal ones that we find. So we've got these grommets here. This is now basically your accelerator cable will come through it. We've got these pushers here. They're supposed to be black, but the new ones that's made up are in black color. So first things first, what we want to do is let's tackle the brake pedal, right? So this is the brake pedal. This is the clutch pedal actually, and here's the brake pedal here, or vice versa. We'll see now. So this is the brake pedal. This guy's the brake pedal. So again, I don't do the assembling as much as we do this here all the time. We can't always remember how these things go on together, right? So that's a good thing on my side, that we can try and figure it out as well together. So remember, I do have some powder coat on here, right? And what we can do is maybe just get some grease just on the lip of it. So I'm not even going to use the grease stuff. I'm just going to use the grease lid and just get some grease on these bushes here. The other one went in fairly easy, but it was a little bit sticky. Now you don't want to upset the bush by trying to force it in. So I've got my grease cloth here. Right, and you'll get your bushes in, if I'm not mistaken, it's in from the side here. We might have to chop it around now if it goes on. I can't remember exactly now. So you see that went in more smoothly, because remember, we do have a layer of powder coat on the unit now, right? This guy here will normally slide in this way here, and you can feel it's a nice snug fit already. This is now your accelerator pedal. It doesn't look like an accelerator pedal, but you'll see it later on. So, and then you got your lock clip that will come on here. So it is a little bit tighter because of the powder coat, but you can feel the pedal. There's no play on the pedal whatsoever. It's nice and tight. It's nice and snug. So basically, you can see we've powder coated everything. You've got your new bushes in. It actually looks nice. You've got your clip, your lock clip that's plated there already. So let's tackle now the brake pedal. So your brake pedal has got roller bearings on the inside here, right? So we've had to blank it off and close that off while we were powder coating it. So what I done was I've just taken some electric cleaner, not electric cleaner, or this is carb cleaner is actually quite well, because carb cleaner will blow out the old grease that you can't find and you can't get to in there. I've just blown it out nicely, and I've got the rollers turning freely, right? So you can hear they're not stuck or anything of the sort. Then what I am gonna do is I am gonna take a tip of grease and just run it onto the rollers itself. Right, and you just gotta wait in, because remember they're running dry at the bottom, so you'll actually hear she'll get softer and softer. We've cleaned her out properly, so the bottom of the rollers are actually very dry. I'm just gonna put a little bit more grease on the one side here. Right, and then I'll just get some more on the other side, and then we'll run the shaft in and see if the shaft runs smoothly as well. So again, this is part of the restoration process. It's not just, I'm gonna repeat myself again here, it's not just spraying a car and doing the interior and putting a rum on it and doing the motor up and dressing the exterior, but all these nitty gritties here get touched on. Okay, so that's nice and quiet now. Right, so take my grease cloth again. I'm just gonna wipe off the edge here. Right, then you get your shafts. These are your roller runners on there. So the shaft, I've electroplated them as well. These guys, they won't rust or anything, but anything that takes to electroplating will always work. So you just gotta have a look. Don't force it in because your rollers are here. Right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dump some grease on the side here. So when you electroplate, the plating surface isn't really major, so it shouldn't affect your clearances on the surface. But if the tolerance is really low, a little bit of plating that's on there might affect it. See, I can feel it's a bit rough here. So I don't know if this is a plating issue here. So I'm gonna just move my mic down. Okay, I'm gonna try another one, right? And maybe what I'll have to do is I might have to redo this guy here. This one also feels a bit rough. This one is a bit smoother. Let's try the smooth one and see what happens. So again, like I'm saying, I'm just gonna grease it up nicely, just so we can slide it in. And remember, once she slides in, she's not coming back out. So it's better just to get her lubed up a little bit now. Yeah. So she slides in nicely. Just gonna see. There's actually two sizes here. That's one size. Okay, so there's still one size for all, but I think it's I think I plated a little bit too much on this, so I might have to just smoothen those guys out. So basically, this is your clearance that you have in there. This is your roller running on, and you can actually hear it's nice and quiet. So now you want to keep your hand surface clean because we've electroplated a lot of the items. So I think let's finish up with all the greasy items, so then I can wipe my hands once and then we can move on. So on this is your clutch pedal, this is your brake pedal, sorry. Your clutch pedal, this will be your clutch pedal here. And then we can just get some grease onto these cups. This here will have a runner, but it doesn't have bearings on it. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of grease just to help us get through the powder coated area. Right, these guys are very hard to buy. You can't really buy them. And if you look at the size difference, if I'm not mistaken, they are different. And another thing is as well is that they're not the same size as these grommets. So don't be mistaken and think that you will get these grommets here. They're not the same. So you'll see here, this is not because of the powder coat, that it's a little bit, yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to give it a light tap. You can still see there's still a bit of a lip there. Get this side on here. Okay, so that's nice and flush. This guy's a bit sticky. Let's see what I can do there now. Right, so we've got our grommets in place here. We've got our rollers lubricated properly, so we've got some grease on it. And then we will get the guy to fit up in here. See exactly what's going on here. Now remember again, we've got powder coating on here, right? So that clearance is going to be a little bit tight, and I might just scratch a little bit to get this guy in its position. So we're going to get the long bolt and nut through. We've got one washer that comes on to the side here. We've got one washer that comes onto this side. And then we've got the bolt that will slide all the way through here, right? There's one, the rod arm here. I just need to see if I can get to the rod arm with the pedal on. So I'm not going to make this guy tight. Anyway, this guy's going to come through on this side here. Sorry, the washer must actually come onto the side here, not onto the inside. It only has the one washer with it. So this washer will come off. We'll get our bolt running through again. And get this guy on here. Okay, sorry, let's get this guy through properly. Right, this guy on here, and we'll have the specific nuts that goes on here. So I'm not going to tighten it up now. I'm just going to leave it loose for now. Right, we'll tighten it up and lock it up properly. I think that before we run through this process here, I actually forgot to put the rod in. See? So this one has a little bit more tolerance, but it fits through, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grease this guy up now. I'll take it back out quickly. I'll take this guy back out now. But before we get to this here, I think let us get the foot brake swivel lever on. I'm just going to pull this bolt out quickly. And we'll just slide this guy back out. Okay, so that's foot brake swivel lever that I was talking about is this guy. So what we're going to do is, you'll see here that your gap on this side here is actually quite small. So we'll use one of the locking pins here. Through here, let's just see if our clearance is fine. She's a bit sticky. She's nice and loose. But there is some powder coat on the inside here. Let's see for another one. I don't know if they're all the same thicknesses. They look like they're all the same thicknesses. Yeah, it's the powder coat that's an issue here. So I don't really want to hammer it in because we've got plating on the one side. So we just want to try and get a little bit grease on the lip here as well again. Right, and I'm gonna get this spiky in here. Okay, I'm gonna give it a light tap here quickly. Right, just gonna put it on the vise. So this guy seems to be a bit stubborn. She seems to be a bit stubborn. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use the vise just to force her, but she does wanna play nice. And this is purely because of the excess powder coat that we're seeing. Okay, there's it. Okay. Right, so this is purely because of the excess powder coat that we are seeing. And I'm sure we're gonna have, no, the other side should be fine. So this is how our swivel head goes onto. Then we've got your locking pins that'll slide over to the one side and clip on and lock. Just make sure that they press down so they remain in their position, right? So I just want to see the direction looks right. They look like they're all the same. Then we've got another lever here. There's a swivel lever here. I don't know where we hung it. Okay guys, so this here is the one swivel rod that we have for the brake pedal, right? So I just want to get this guy loose. So we chose not to powder coat this one here, we chose to rather paint this one here, right? Because of the roller bearings on the inside and masking it, and it just becomes a bit of a headache. So I'm just going to loosen up the swivel action, the swivel side here. Alright. Okay, so now what I've done is I've cleaned this guy out on the inside. This is where the bearings are going to run. And then we've got a whole lot of rollers. So first, what I would like to do is just give it a clean off. Make sure that the rollers are obviously free from grime, even though it was masked off in powder coating, I mean in sandblasting, but sandblast gets in everywhere. I'll just move it over the side here quickly so they look nice and clean. And this guy will evaporate from there, right? So what I'm going to do now is just get some grease. Just get some grease in the casing here. And this here will help to get the rollers just to stick so we can place them in place. We can place them in its casing. So remember, again I'm going to say, this here hasn't been touched in the last 20 years, 30 years. So it's actually good that we tackling these guys again, and basically, if I can call it, just freshening everything up. So again, our next videos are going to be the, when I'm doing this here quickly, just explain to you, our next videos are going to be of the paint shop. I'm just going to do a couple of videos there of the number 6333 that's done already. We're not entirely happy on the paintwork, but it's good for now. There is going to be a couple of things that we're going to change to it. And then we've got another cabriolet in there that's getting an S54 manual setup. So that guy's getting ready for paint on Monday. I'm just going to get some more grease in there just to help it hold the rollers. Then the red IS that we spoke about. So that's, we're doing one of the pedals for them as well. There's some good news. Okay, so I'm going to do a full feature on it, right? But while I'm busy here, sorry, while I'm busy here, the reason why we went quiet on that IS is because we found out that we were basically, okay, the back right of the vehicle was skew. So after sandblasting the car, we've done a lot of metal work to it, etc, etc. We found out that the car was skew on the back right and the front right. We were basically 63 millimeters out on the back right of the car. So I found a place where they only specialize in chassis straightening. We took it through to them last week, and I actually got a call now today to say that the vehicle will be done on Tuesday. So that's actually good news for us, because we can finally get the vehicle back and start prepping her up for primer and getting the ball rolling with that car, because I think she's long overdue. Then with regards to engine setup on that, we're going to go with the stroker motor in that car. We're not going to do anything too heavy stroker wise. We're going to run a nice 2.8 setup, so we're still going to do that build next week. I think the engineers are just waiting for the pistons, we're gonna run a nice 288 cam in there, and again that car's gonna be run on airflow on a standard ECU. So we're gonna do that engine build. So it'll be the wipers, all the wiper arms will do. I'll do the update on number 6. I will do the update on the red IS, and then we're able to start with body work on the white IS. That's the car that has a lot of welding, a lot of fabrication to do. So we've got our hands tied in there, and then we've got another 2 ISs that we're busy on. So okay, so here's it here. All the bearings are in place nicely. I'm just gonna give it a nice smear of grease. You can see they're all in place. Then we've got the roller shaft that's on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give a little bit of grease onto the roller shaft. So I didn't plate this on here. I give a nice clean up on the wire wheel, and just got it nice and smooth again. So let's get this guy back up in here. So we just got a nice smooth roller in here, and you can see this, you can hear this, I think you'll hear from the mic. There's no heavy noises or anything, so you know that there's no grime in there. Let's get my other booth back here. Okay, so now let's go back to this guy quickly. So we're gonna need, I just want to see if this is the correct length of bolt here. This one is too long, so it's actually, this bolt is for the brake assembly. Here's the, looks like this size here. Yeah, this. We're gonna need this bolt, this nut here, and I'm gonna need another, no, I don't remember taking a washer off on this side here. So I'm gonna leave the pedal aside for now. That'll come on afterwards. And so we've got, I think this guy's actually gonna have to come off here, you know that. So let me go and take this brake off. Just gonna pull this locking pin out. And remember, the locking pin was a bit sticky. The locking pin was a bit sticky. I'm just going to use a plier quickly just to get some leverage. Okay, so I think this guy's gonna go on here. I'm just gonna mark foot off it quickly. So this guy, and it is now tight again because of the powder coat. Okay, but there she in place. So that comes in here. Okay, so the rod is gonna come through here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use, this has got a nut on the one side, so the rod screws into here. This will go into the bottom side of it, and the swivel action will go on top, if I'm not mistaken, right? So let's put the clips on this guy. Let's wipe up. I've got some grease on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one now on video, and then we're gonna follow through. I'll get on with the rest, and I'll show you guys the end products. I just hope she's not so sticky, because there is paint and she is sticky. And not too bad. So grab a lock here quickly. Okay, so we're just gonna grab a lock on here. Alright, so she's swiveling nicely, and we'll do the other side as well. So it doesn't really matter the direction because it's interchangeable. Grab one of the lock pins here and one of the side locks. So just like I told you, there's some paint. On this side here, just giving me a hard time. So I just want to get this guy cleaned out a little bit. The inside here. Let's see, I've got my brush, but I think my wire brush is a bit big for this guy. Yeah, okay, so I got able to get it cleaned out. So that's the importance of masking, right? You need to mask these guys all the time. It does take ages to mask. Let's see if there's another thickness. Because why is this one? This one is very tight. I think they're all about the same thickness. It's just the excess grime on the side here. There's a lot of grime here. We've got these swivel units back here. Some of them have got roller bearings in them, and some have got some have got roller bearings in them, and some have just got a bush on it. Right, so here's the one with roller bearings here. Obviously they're just gonna get cleaned out well. Let's see, my guy actually just moved it here. The bearings popped off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave one of the roller bearings this side here because I'm gonna clean that out now. Okay, so the one with the push in, I'm just going to clear this guy out here quickly. Right, this is old grease and old grime. And then I'm just gonna use the wire brush here. Help it. I'm just gonna use the wire brush here quickly. Just to give it a nice, this is just grime over all the years, right? Okay, so that guy's cleaned out there. Then I just gave this guy a quick wash off, but again, I'll just dump a little bit of grease on the. I'll dump a little bit of grease here, and then I'll have to go and wash my hands now. Okay, I'm just busy with the video, baby. Okay, so you can see we got the family here. That's my 3-year-old daughter. Right, so you can see these bushes actually going in nice and smooth. Right, so this is where your swivel head is going to lock onto here. Just want to see quickly where are we getting them on. Yeah. Okay, then we've got a 13 bolt nut. Okay, so there's still a push on the side here that we've got to fit in. I'm just going to give it some grease so I can get it sliding in nicely. So just a touch of grease, nothing major. Right, that's it. Finish is nice and quiet as well. So this guy should slide in here. So again, you'll see that with the powder coating and stuff like that, things do get a bit tight. and you've got to yank in a little bit here and there. So that is correct here. Let's see what's going on here. No, it doesn't go like that. Okay, there's it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 17 nut and bolt in. My clean cloth. I'm going to put the 17 nut and bolt in, but I'm not going to tighten her. I'm just going to line her up, and I'm just going to use a screwdriver just to align her a little bit. So it is a bit tight because of the powder coat, and it's not that easy for me just to align this worky through. There's it. So again, I've just got a wedge and shove her into place. To go a little bit more. There's it. Okay. So we're just gonna put the 17 nut and bolt in. And we're gonna hold that in place for now, right? Then you've got your swivel adjuster. But I think I want to get the spin in from the bottom and lock from the top. So here's one of the pins. Let's just make sure the heads are clean. I did clean it out. Okay, so she's nice and clean already, right? I'm just gonna give it a tip of grease so she slides in effortlessly. Right, so you don't want to put too much grease, otherwise you're gonna get grease all over the show and in places that you don't actually need grease. Okay, and then I'll get one of the lock pins on and just give it a slide from this side, and she's locked up, right? So you can see she looks all nice and clean. The master cylinders haven't arrived as yet, and they are pre-ordered. So I'm gonna assemble them without the master cylinders for now. So like I explained to you, they do get a bit tight because of the powder coating. But you can see her now. You can see how she's coming together. Okay, so that'll come in there with a lock pin. So what I want to do now is I want to grab my... This is the long rod, and you can see I'm totally out on the side here. So I'm just going to line it up. Get the long bolt through. That'll hold it in place for me. And you can hear that she's nice and smooth, right? So if this rod will come into place, we'll get another lock and pin. And let's just make sure that our caps are clean. Yeah, and then I'm going to put a little bit of grease on as well. So let's get some grease here. So just a touch of grease. And then we're going to try and get this guy in. So we have to slide in from this way here, because there is no space between the pedal and the bracket on the side here. Okay, so you can see with the grease she slides in nicely, and then I just want to get the lock pin in place again. So the lock pin will come from this side out, right? So basically that's what you got now. So you're going to have another rod running in from this side here, and I'm actually very silly. I'm actually silly here. So I was supposed to get this guy in on here. So let me take off again quickly. I think I should only okay, this is going to be easier to take out. Let me take it out this side here. So there's certain things that need to go in first before you can do the rest, and I was a bit confused by that. So let me just take this button out here quickly. So slide this lock out. Okay, just out there, and then I'll have to take the 17 out quickly here. So I have to pop this guy back out here, and then we'll have to get this lock button. Right? So same story here, same scenario. So get your lock button, get a little bit of grease on it. Slider on. Okay, so I'll have to slide it back in this way here again. So remember now, you've got to put the two lock buttons on basically, because you will not have space. Get to the other one. And use a screwdriver just to align it again. So I'll wipe my hand here quickly. 17 back in. Okay, so we'll be able to get the rod in from this side here, turn the rod in, and then it'll lock on the opposite side. So this one here, I think I'm gonna battle to get this one. I think I'm gonna battle to get this one in. Let's see. That was actually a very silly move. But anyway. Okay, so guys, that's what you shouldn't do, right? So you need to get the lock button in on this side here. Then before you get to this process here, you need to have this lock button put in already. So I'm just gonna lift this guy up so I can get a bit higher here. Alright. And I think I'm still gonna be out of space. I think I'm gonna have to take this whole guy out. Or what I can do is quickly just slide the pedal back out. Slide the pedal back out, which will allow me to lift this guy up a little bit and just work better. Get this guy in. Okay, that is a bit better. Okay, so that's done there. Now we can go back and put our pedal in. We can get the clutch and brake pedal bolt through, and then we can lock onto this guy here now. So I'll have to come in from the side here. That's it there. Right. Okay. I think I use that other lock somewhere else. Then I'll lock this pin in here. Okay. Right, so we got locked in there. So we got accelerator pedal here. Your brake pedal is going to sit on top here. And we can go ahead and now put the clutch pedal on. Clutch pedal will need the washer on the side here. And you'll see the nuts are all a certain type of nut. Then we can also go ahead and put our two bolts in for the. Okay, so leave that for now. So, okay, our clutch, our master cylinder is not in, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave these two bolts in its place for the master cylinder. That's going to sit over here. And then we need to get our grommets in place. So there's one stopper that I'm still trying to order, and I can't find it anywhere. Right, so one is gonna come over here. I think no, not here. Sorry, here's a chair. So this is gonna be a bit tighter. Okay, so this is your accelerator cable grommet. It's gonna come in here. We can put grommets in here and here as well as here. So this guy here, because this is now where springs are gonna get into, right? So one is for the clutch pedal, one is for the spring. That's actually silly. I should have put these grommets in when the pedals were out. It's fine. They will have to do now. Yes, I'm just gonna try and I think this one is a bit tight here. This side here. So I'm gonna try and wedge it, but I'm gonna try and I don't wanna try and squeeze too much. No, this grommet is not right on this side here. This gapping is just not right. It's either not right or it's very awkward for me to get in there. So I'll have to go for a smaller grommet in on there. Or the powder coat as our diameter, inside diameter, but smaller there. Right, and I think it's here as well. So I'm just gonna do some more research quickly into these things here, into the grommet sizes that we need to play around with. Okay, I'll have to measure here. So I'll get the vernier here quickly. Let me get the vernier shop. So I just got the vernier back here. I just want to get it back onto 0. So it's 10 more on the ID. So the grommet should be fine. Grommet should be fine. So it's not an issue with the size of the grommet. It's just basically tricky to get in. Okay, I'm gonna play around with these guys here. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna try and get a smaller grommet because this is actually becoming a pain to get in. Okay, so you got your pedals on here, you got your master cylinder on here,
You'll have your pipe coming through that. I think I've got a master cylinder here. This one here is seized. So this is just an example. Right, so your master cylinder will sit, if I'm not mistaken, something like this here, something like this, and then you've got your pin around, and you've got your, this is a special screw, a special bolt for the master cylinder that'll go onto your pedals on this side here, on this side here. So having said that, that is done. Another thing that we all tend to miss is that we need to get some sort of insulation. Okay, so sorry about that. You just want to get this guy cushioned out nicely, so you get one-way tape. It's one-way sponge tape that you'll get on your right, and that'll go onto your firewall. And then there is the option of getting new rubbers for the pedals. They are available, right? So they look quite nutty, and it's quite, it just freshens this whole build of the car up. So let me see. I'll do the top half first because it'll be the hard half. And I'm trying not to squeeze over here. Right? Okay, there's it. Okay, so basically that new accelerator pedals for your plastic bump and chrome bump, there is a difference with that. That'll get put on, and then your springs will come on. So I'm not going to put the springs on now. I'm only going to do the springs after I get these grommets back on here. But basically, this is what you got. I'm just going to tuck it in from the top here. It's the wrong place, but this is the look and feel that you'll have to it. So you got something looking like this here, and I think it looks good. So guys, I'm going to finish up the other two. Let me know what you guys think about it, but I think this it does add to the restoration. Another thing is, you'll notice that on the bolts you will find the yellow lock-in paint on them. So once we tighten them up, we have to get the lock-in paint on your clutch and brake pedal bolt, and on your accelerator or your brake swivel lever bolt. Get the paint on there, the car should look as good as new. And then we need to order a new brake light switch. So pre-facelift and facelift, the switches are different, the fitment is different, and the plugs are also different, right? One uses the push-on lugs for the pre-face, and the facelifts, the plastic bumpers, use a different lug on there. So brake switch on, master cylinder on, pipe coming through, and we need to try and get the correct piping, which is the pipe with the material over it. Get that on, and we're good. Okay, so next up is going to be I'm just going to finish up all the pedals for these cars so I can get them on, and then we're going to move over to the wiper mechanism motors. From there, we're going to move over to the heater boxes on the different vehicles. So again, this year was for the pedals we're doing for the 333, for the brown 325i. So Aero Silver 333, brown 325i, and for the red 325is. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share. You guys know what to do. And stay tuned for the next episode. Cheers, guys.